Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67, and with me as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
You doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm also doing personally pretty good. I'm going to constantly be like doing this with like my hands because I don't know, I must have like rubbed my mustache or something like that, but it's curling up and it's curling up into my nose, which is making it like very itchy and destructible to me. And so I'm constantly trying to get that taken care of, but it is not working, and I don't know, I'll live with it at some point. But other than that, my day's been pretty good. I've just been enjoying my life.
That's good. Always good.
Yeah. How are you, Austin?
I'm not too bad. Just been kind of tired lately. Just
Hey,
I was about to ask you about that. What do you think of the mug?
Oh, it's a fine mug. Probably can't really see it too well, but
Yeah, there we go. It looks good. Oh wow, yeah, it looks good.
it looks nice and pretty.
Yeah.
It has a nice little Steven Universe art to commemorate us finishing Steven Universe. Austin got me that, and then he also got me
Yeah, because his
Greg
star
X.
shirt was wearing out.
it's Greg X Steven Universe, and it's going on from now on with my older years. I will be the black shirt Steven and move on with my life.
There you go. There you go.
I appreciate it, Austin. I really do.
Yeah. No worries.
But no, had that to look forward to when I got home. I found the packages and I was like, oh heck yeah. And then just doing a lot of work and a lot of playing a lot of games. Me and our friend Caleb started a Dark Urge / Evil run of Baldur's Gate last night, and automatically I'm having issues because I just want to play and be a nice cinnamon, and I have to be evil, and even whenever I'm trying to be evil, I'm still messing up. And like that, there's this point where this evil you find this goblin who's like, hey, let me out and I'll let you into our area. I was like, all right, cool, bet, let's do this. And I free her and I go in the back way, and then she gets killed by her own people. And I'm like, well, I guess I can't betray the grove that way, so I have to find another way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of like going around figuring out what I can't do. And it's honestly a funny situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here or there, Austin, because today we get to talk not about blonde vampire man who has the internet in storm because of how overpowerful he is on the level of sexuality and pettiness in Baldur's Gate. We're talking about 3 equally sexy vampires and one not so sexy vampire.
Not you, Guillermo.
Oh, and then not Guillermo either. Austin, this week we watched What We Do in the Shadows Season 5, a show we both love. Has come out and has finished, and it's fantastic. Glad to jump on into it. So awesome. What did you think of What We Do in the Shadows?
Interesting. This season was very interesting. I still am in love with Matt Berry. He cannot do any wrong to me. I think he's one of the best comedic, like just how he talks in the show always cracks me up, and I constantly quote him now. It's like it's super fun. There was some guest appearances this season, but we also got to see some of like we got to see something happen in this season that we've been waiting for a while.
Austin, This is a spoiler show, man. Let's just talk about it. Like, that's
Well,
the whole point. Like, so we can talk about it.
So
Just lay it out, man. Like,
well, you know, we got it to see Guillermo be a vampire, but in reality, Guillermo can't be a vampire. He just doesn't have the cojones to be a vampire.
It's not even just the cojones. Like, his blood literally stops him from being a vampire. Which I think the thing I liked most about this season is through the whole season, it's this mystery of like, why is Guillermo not transforming? Why is it? And then when Nandor finally finds out, he instantly solves the issue in the matter of seconds. He's like, yeah, his vampiric blood stopped him from becoming a vampire. And they're all like, oh, that makes sense. That legitimately made me bust out laughing because I didn't even think about that through the whole series. I assumed there was going to be something like with it, like there's a reason why it's going on. I didn't think it was that obvious. And I was like, gosh dang, that was such a great like callback writing style to do that. But yeah, we got to see Guillermo become semi-vampire with the translucent body, moving around quickly. I also do like the fact that he did become full vampire in the end. Whenever the fact that they never had him drink blood to like become full vampire is hilarious to me. And then he just started going off the walls with stuff, but still, like, it was a nice time. I do find it funny, right, that Guillermo was so quick to be like, oh, I can't do this, I'm done. Like, let's revert it type deal thing. And my brain kind of went to whenever I was watching it, I was like, you can get blood outside of killing people, you know that, right? Like, you don't have to murder people to get blood. Like, come on, man. Like, I felt like his brain left for the sake of the story. In that moment. But
you know, I think this season was really good. It's a solid season. There were some great episodes. There was some really great episodes. I laughed super hard to a lot of the episodes. I'd have to say, like, the episode that I didn't think I was going to like until I started watching it, I was like, okay, this is funny. And it was the episode where Naja is teaching people how to speak English. Like, she's like their citizenship test or whatever.
Oh, when she's the teacher?
Yeah, and then she thinks that like this hex is over top of them, and the one girl convinces her that she's a witch, and she's like, "I'm a witch." It's like, "Oh, I can save you." It's like, but you have to go to this Dunkin'
Donuts. Get me some with sprinkles, brown sprinkles. It's like they only had rainbow sprinkles. What do you expect me to do with this? Go again.
And it's so funny because, like, I don't see the girl that plays that witch. I haven't seen her do a lot of stuff, but she was in Reno 911. Like, she's like she's one of the police officers in Reno. So, like, seeing her, I was like, oh, hey, that's great that she's in a show like this because it works out. We also got to one of my favorite things is the ending of the season is when they take Derek's body to the
necromancer again, and then Topher shows up.
Which is the guy from Doctor Strange.
And then from just Marvel in general. He's basically Marvel, the new like multiverse character that shows up everywhere. Yeah, he's the Sorcerer Supreme. Put some name on that respect.
Support. Oh yeah, I forgot. But no, and then like I love that Haley Joel Osment's like still there, and he's like, Topher. No, I'm just kidding. I learned how to talk.
I learned how to talk. You'll learn it. Once you get used to being dead again, you'll figure it out. I do like that because that opens him to be actual character later in the series and have his own thing. Like, yeah, he'll still be a zombie, but he can still like, do stuff.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the whole thing. The only thing I will say is there is an episode on here that made me feel uncomfortable, and it's the episode where Naja's doll.
Oh,
it made me so uncomfortable. Like, and it's funny because she wants to have sex with Colin Robinson. And the part that made me cringe the most, but it made me laugh, was when he was like, all right, you ready for this? and like he's coming close, like really close to Nasha, and he's like, I'm gonna give it to you. And then he's like, I don't know what to do after this. Something like that. And I just died. It was so cringe. It was like this guy that didn't know, he was just like, you know, I don't know if he was trying to feed there or like he was just like didn't know what to do because he's never done it. So that episode, but the ending of that episode is what made me go, oh gosh, was when all of them were partaking. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I do find that made you uncomfortable. For me, it was kind of like a funny situation where it's like, yeah, okay, I get the joke and it all makes sense. Didn't know Colin Robinson was into that, but hey, he seemed more than happy for that. So I'm like, hey man, more power to you. Enjoy. You got your whole undead life. What does it matter?
We also got to see a vampire council of psychic energy vampires.
Oh yeah, the energy vampires,
which is great.
The one woman was on there.
Yeah.
Wait,
Hannibal was also Hannibal from Eric Andre's show.
Oh yeah, he was on it. But the big one for me was the one woman from she was on Harmon's Quest and she was also on the Space Force.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I forget her. I don't know her name. But she's very like I just recognize her. Oh, Aparna. I'm going to butcher this name. I'm so sorry. But let me make sure.
Is she the one that had like the microphone that she couldn't hardly talk in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Aparna, not Cheryl. I'm going to butcher that. She's funny to me, man. Like, it's this level of like how her rhythmic talking just gets me. She's also in Harmon's Quest, which is where I first met her, first saw her, and she made me laugh on that because she would just say things in just a very dull manner, and it would just chuckle me up. And then she was in Space Force, and she did the same thing. And then here she's basically the same thing. She's energy vampire. I'm like, that makes complete sense to me.
That and what's really weird. Did you know this about Hannibal? Do you know how he got famous?
No,
I didn't know this until so he was on a roast of, I think it was Justin Bieber, and I didn't know this because usually like on TikTok I watch clips and they had a roast with like Hannibal talking to Justin Bieber, and one of his things was he was like, I hate your music as much as Bill Cosby hates my stand-up, and I never got that reference and I just laughed. I looked it up, but he's the one that got people interested in the investigation for Bill Cosby. He did a stand-up bit where he was like, Bill Cosby is a rapist and like all this other stuff, and said all this stuff. And I didn't know this, but he was the person that got Bill Cosby like to be looked up. And that's how he got famous, and he was on Eric Andre's show later. So I didn't know that at all. I was like, that's pretty cool. I never knew that. He's a guy that stopped a terrible thing that was going on for a long time. So yeah, it was cool to see Hannibal. I think he's funny. I've always thought he was funny. He's funny in what was it? He was in Spider-Man. He was in the Spider-Man movies with also the guy that was from Silicon Valley called Guilfoyle. He was the gym teacher.
Oh, okay.
Hannibal was the gym teacher in the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. So
I forget Guilfoyle was in the Spider-Man movies until you say.
Yeah, he's the one that makes the shrine. And
he because he plays it such a straight-laced person, and then you watch him play Guilfoyle in Silicon Valley, and he's unhinged sociopath, and it's like all good. It's like, huh. Anyways, back to what we do in the shows. Yeah. The funny thing is like I was watching this season, right? Mm-hmm. And I like the whole concept of the arc of the season with like, hey, is Irma's a vampire? Oh no, that's a taboo. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. He has to figure out a way to either cheat it, fake it, or something. Like something has to give. Like something has to be found out to solve this. Yeah. And I think that was honestly a pretty good call on them to like kind of play that out. Because I was thinking about it whenever I was wearing the shirt one time, right? Like, the second Guillermo becomes a vampire, the show's dynamic is going to change drastically. And I don't, if they're going to make him a vampire, that's going to be like the last season type deal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But because of how they set it up now, that it's like Guillermo became a full vampire, Guillermo can't make that decision.
Yeah,
he's going to stay a familiar type deal thing for a while, if not permanently.
Mm-hmm.
That sets them up in a way that this is no longer an issue, because this has been an issue since first season, right? Guillermo wanting to be a vampire and Nandor never turning him, and it's this overarching fear throughout the whole series. Now it's like, I've been a vampire before, it's not what I like. Mm-hmm. So we can now introduce a new center crux for the group. Like, initially, like, we can focus more on Nandor and his pursuit of his bride, or in this situation, what everyone wants is him and Guillermo to get together. Yeah. Or we can learn more about Laszlo. Like, there's so many possibilities, and it's kind of like a nice thing, because, you know, at the end of last season, we were left with a cliffhanger of Guillermo paying to become one, and so we only had that on the brain entering in the season. But in this season, it ends in a way that it's like anything could happen. They could lead to anything they want now, and I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. And I'm like, I'm all for that. I think when shows leave you with cliffhangers, that's all good and solid. I think whenever they don't leave you with a cliffhanger, it can also be just as good. Yep. I know I talked to our friend Todd, and he felt kind of weird about the season. He just felt like nothing really happened. And I was thinking about that. Do you feel like nothing really happened, or everything that happened in the season kind of got wiped away? Like, what are your thoughts about, like, the stepping stone?
Well, the thing is like, there wasn't like some big overarching story that was going on. Like, last season was Colin Robinson being a child, and like coming to find out that like, Colin, when they reach a certain age, they pretty much revamp back into another psychic vampire, but he became Colin again. But this season kind of felt like season 1, actually, where it felt like it was like episodic instead of like this overarching story. But I didn't have a problem with it. Like, I was like, yeah, this is fun. Like, I'm cool with it. There is still something that did get done, though. Like, we did find out that Guillermo did get bit, and it gets resolved. Like, that's what I like about that. The cliffhanger, you know, really, there was no cliffhanger this season, and I think that's what disturbed probably him, is because he wanted to be like, oh man, I can't wait for next season, and gets him hyped. That's probably why. Because the thing is like, every season's had like a cliffhanger. Like, the first one was Guillermo kills all those people in the, what was it, in the theater.
No, that I think that was.
Or was that season 2? I think it was season 1 was.
Maybe, I don't know. It's been a while since I've rewatched the whole series. Honestly, I need to, because it's just a very solid show to just have in the background. Honestly, I think that's what I'll probably do for work for the next couple days, because. One of the issues that I've been having at work is I'm like, I want to watch something. I want something to be playing, but I don't want to watch something that requires my attention, and that actually may be a perfect thing to pick. I don't remember what the ending of the first season was.
Oh, okay. It was actually the ending of Naja's like second lover.
The ghost.
Yeah. Well, it was the guy that gets his head chopped off.
Gets his head like cut off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the end of season 1. Because season 2 was the theater.
The theater massacre.
And then season 3 was when Guillermo gets sent to to Europe.
She throws him in a box and sends him off.
And then 4 was the last episode was
Colin.
Colin. So and him being bit by a vampire. So, or going to Derek. So maybe that's what it was. But actually, in reality, I enjoyed the season a lot, and it didn't have to rely on like any side thing. You know, like the biggest thing that was the overarching story is like Guillermo is trying to hide that he's a vampire.
Yeah.
from Nandor, and also
and they're trying
why
to figure
isn't
out
he
why he
transformed?
isn't transforming.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I will say, nothing. I felt oddly like uncomfortable seeing the Gearmo animals in this season.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, this is like Uncanny Valley level. And then when they started speaking, I'm like, oh, this is worse.
Yeah.
This is worse. It's one thing for it to look that way. It's another thing for them to be 100% cognitive and talk.
Oh, yeah.
It was very, very rough to watch those episodes.
Yeah.
I do also find it funny that those things are going to progressively get more and more evolved to where they literally start looking like Guillermo. Because they kill the fish guy, and he's like, this ain't Guillermo. And cuts him open, and it's like the fish is inside. It's like, are you telling me there is a retirement home somewhere where suddenly the sheep, wolf, sheep, dog, rat people are suddenly becoming full, absolute people? There's going to be an episode where they revisit, and there's going to be like 6 different Guillermos, and they're going to be the fully evolved versions of them. And I'm like, I wonder what that means. Like, I wonder what that'll do, because they have vampiric blood in them. They are like vampires. Oh my gosh! Imagine an episode, right, where they go to the nursing home and everyone's dead, and it's just them feeding on everyone because they've fully awakened. You know, like.
Oh man, that, you know, the thing is like that did disturb me. It kind of reminds me of like the Steven Universe, like the whole watermelon people type deal.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm disturbed that way.
Sentience, yeah. Steven was worse because like he gave cognitive to things that are not like any type of cognitive. Lazo straight up experimented on animals, and that's kind of messed up. But I do also find it hilarious that he experimented on animals and then told him to kill them. And he's like, I can't do it. I can't kill them.
Oh, and then another thing from season 1 that got revealed was the Baroness or the Baronet finds out that Guillermo actually opened the door and killed him. Like, he's the one that, well, like, made him, like, pretty much.
Basically killed him. He turned him to ash.
And he does it again.
And he does it again, accidentally, which is hilarious.
The other thing is we also got to see someone from season 1. Evie shows back up in this season too.
Was she in season 1?
Yeah, the campaign episode.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Yeah, it was the campaign episode.
No. What I meant by that statement, I meant in like, did her psychic vampire come in season 1, or was that later? Not that I didn't know who she was.
I think it was season 1, because that's when you started really liking Colin Robinson, because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was season 1. Okay, yeah, it was season 1.
I mean, I remember her all the time. I think about her all the time. I do like how she I don't know. That episode was funny. It wasn't like it was good, hilarious. I just like the whole like, well, I'm ending this now, and he just pulls down his pants. And I was like, yeah, that was the thing that happened on Zoom calls.
And then I didn't let the finale get to me, because there's a special guest on this season that I am not a fan of, never been a fan of. And
I loved him. He was so great in this
finale. And that is Patrick Oswald, or Patton Oswald. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Patton Oswald, but he was okay in this. Like, I didn't mind him.
Solid.
He wasn't.
I liked him. I also liked it for the fact that Nandor straight up murders him and then uses his death as a reason for why he won't let certain things happen. And I was like, Nandor, you murdered him.
Murdered him. That and Kristen Shaw got her whole episode.
I was so happy with that.
It was so good.
Because, like, here's the thing, right? I like the guy. I like Kristen Shaw. Just straight up, like Christian. She comes into anything, and I'm instantly like, I recognize her. I know her voice. I love this woman. She makes me laugh. And then she gets like mistreated through the whole series, and I was like, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for the guide. I feel like she deserves something. And then that episode, whenever everything starts going on, my brain instantly went to, it's all the guide. It's the guide.
Yep, that's what I did too.
Getting revenge, like the classic horror movie trope thing, and it turns out to be true. And I don't know. It just made me laugh. I totally thought. You know what I thought was going to happen though? I thought it was going to be revealed that the guide was actually that old witch.
That's what I thought too.
But instead, it's like, no, she just has a summer home, and I'm using her summer home. And I was like, oh, they missed an opportunity for her to get a full name, and for her to be like recognized as this strong vampire that just likes to hang out with them. Kind of like the Baron is how I kind of viewed it. Was like the Baron then. Which, funny thing, right? Do you notice? I noticed a little bit of a continuity error in this season. It's a small one, but it's something that they reveal in the beginning where Guillermo is like going around doing stuff, right? So there is a point in the show, right, where they're like, hey, if Nandor finds out that you were turned by someone else, he will kill you and then kill himself, blah blah blah, right? And then Guillermo has to make a decision like, oh, I have to defend myself, possibly kill him, vice versa, and all that stuff. The thing that gets me, right, during the scene where Guillermo is being attacked, right, by the Baron, he goes to like kill him. They're like, you can't kill him. If you kill the Baron, all of us die. Now, I guess it's less of a continuity error and much more of a like, yeah, because Derek's not part of that same line. Derek is part of a different line, which could be a completely different vampire line or part of the same. But the issue that doesn't make sense to me is Guillermo becomes human again after he kills Derek. Why is it that he becomes a human again after he kills Derek, but if Guillermo kills the Baron, everyone else dies?
Well, I think why that is because Guillermo is still at the same age that he's at when he got turned, but when
you know what? I think you instantly explain it. Because he matured 1 month automatically.
Yeah.
So that could be 100%. If they kill him, they all just turn to ash because they're so old. You know what? That 100% explains away my issue I had. So no, I appreciated that because
I thought.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
I thought about that when that first happened too. I was like, wait a minute. So like, if that, why wouldn't they all just turn human? And I was like, well, maybe it's because of the age difference in those guys because they've been vampires for like ever. It was
so quick of a statement of him being like, you're going to age like a month that I just didn't process that in my brain. But then whenever he had the beard, I was like, oh yeah, he aged. He looks pretty good with the beard. He should keep that.
He's not bad. What was it? I love him. Him and Nandor, like the two actors. They are best friends. They're constantly texting and like TikToking. But he was just on a podcast with him and talking about how the guy that plays Nandor he has an assistant, like the when you work with a studio, they give you an assistant as an actor. So they're like, hey, if you need to run errands or do something, like you have an assistant that will do that for you. And supposedly the most common assistant thing that you can ask for is coffee, like to get them coffee. And Nandor's actor does not allow his assistants to get him coffee. Not because like he doesn't think the assistant's like good at it. It's more of like he likes his own Keurig. So he makes his own coffee on set. So like that's what's great about that. I never knew that until I watched that podcast. It was pretty fun.
What's funny to me is first off, I think everyone in what we do in the shows is just hilarious. Like I would love to see them in other things. Which I know Matt Berry's been in a handful of things.
Matt Berry's new show just came out.
Yeah, he's in the Crapopolis or something like that.
Yeah, Crapopolis.
So like that's great for them.
And then he's in the last season of Disenchantment, because Disenchantment just came out.
Because he's the one prince.
He's the bear, or the pig. There's actually in Kristen Shaw's and Bob's Burgers and a couple other things too. But and Colin was in Better Call Saul, so yeah.
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah.
baseball cards guy.
Yeah. He was Colin Robinson. That's all he was.
Colin
he was
Robinson,
just Colin Robinson.
without being a vampire.
Exactly. Yeah. That's great.
But I will say the shining Colin Robinson moment this season that made me laugh was actually the first episode where he's like, "Actually, I got a job in as a waiter."
Oh yeah, it's like you writing this down. It's like no, I got this all in my head. I don't need to write down anything.
You're gonna get jalapeno poppers. You're gonna get jalapeno poppers.
Hey, when are we getting our jalapeno poppers? It's just like I don't know. Let me go ask your waitress. You're our waitress.
It's such a good psychic vampire job.
You like that one? My favorite part of him in this season was whenever they thought all the humans were coming to kill them, and he booby traps the whole house. And he's just like, "Don't sit there. Why not? Because."
That in the exit interview one was pretty great, where he just like comes in, he's like, "I just need to do an ending interview."
Ending interview.
He's like,
"How much did we pay you? You paid me nothing." And do you think we can get away with doing that again? This is done. Interview is finished because of participant refused to continue. Almost articulate in his methods.
Yeah, I would stay away from the chiquiles.
Chiquiles. Breakfast burritos. Yeah, he. That's
one of my favorite lines of Matt Berry when he's like, I got Derek to bite me as a vampire. What? What the hell? It's like, the shit.
I thought you were just.
Yeah, you had the shits. I thought you had the shits. I was gonna tell you to stay away from the breakfast tequilas.
The whole episode with the news. Yeah, the newscaster episode made me laugh, especially whenever. Especially at the end, whenever they're like hypnotizing everyone on Channel 8 and they all get together. It's just like, oh, you will forget everything. Oh, crud. Well, it's gonna be real weird if we do it. They'll wonder. In today's news, and they just do the news. It made me laugh. I enjoyed it. I thought that episode was quite solid. Oh, also the whole like the car backing up and falling into a sinkhole, and then they pull out. It's like, crap, she got us on video.
That and the whole small storyline when Naja finds like her like family ties. Mm-hmm. There's like a whole like town that's that tie. Yeah. And then Matt Berry comes in and is like being this, and it's like, oh, they don't like him. Then come to find out that like there's like a ritual where like a buffoon.
Yeah. And there's like he's a crass, horrible, mean buffoon person, but he's good luck to everyone who's around him. And you know what's funny? I'm like, I wonder if that is actually who Matt Berry is. Like that's a real ritual, and she found him, and she's been married with him. That's why she has good luck. She gets away with a lot of things that the other ones don't get. Like, I mean, granted, they all get away with a lot of stuff, but like, we see that they're all stupid. Yeah. She's not that dumb.
Oh yeah, she's not. We also got to see how familiars are treated, like completely at the hospital. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to put him down. He only has a fever. It's just too much.
It's like, yeah, but he could get sick again. Like, you should just put him down.
Then you're all back over here again. Oh, man.
Also, I did find that fight scene funny. That the doctor wanted to inject Guillermo with the needle, but then Naja and him start fighting, and then he starts just going to inject her. And I'm like, did he just forget what he was doing? Because he was supposed to go after her.
Yeah.
I mean, go after him. And there was a point where he throws her across the room and has perfect line of sight on Guillermo. And I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he waiting? I was hoping to see Mark Hamill again, but unfortunately we didn't see it, and that's fine.
There's a couple things I've been waiting on, like just to see if they're going to ever bring this back. Like he's one of them that I thought so, because like at the end of the episode he finds out that the bass is like not real. But the other thing is werewolves. Actually, we haven't seen werewolves in a while, and that's like one of my favorite episodes, especially when he throws a chew toy. Oh, and I forgot.
You know who also we saw this season for a very quick cameo? The Jinn. The
Oh
genie.
yeah, we did see the genie.
He like wishes back. He's like, wish Guillermo was okay. And it's like, you're out of wishes, man. Have you just been carrying me around this whole time? Bruh. It's like, yeah, I mean, the funny thing is like, that's a loophole that a lot of people think about with genies. It's like, if you use all the wishes and just keep it, no one gets any more wishes. You just keep all those wishes. Nandor does that. Of course he does. Because it's Nandor.
Yeah.
I did just watch this video on TikTok about a dude with like a genie, and you get 3 wishes and there's rules. I can't kill anyone, can't ask for more wishes, and you can't make anyone fall in love or something like that. He's like, that's it? That's all your wishes? He's like, yep. Like, those are your only rules. Yes. And so the person writes down a bunch of wishes on a sheet. And he's like, what are you making a list for? Like I said, I can't answer any more wishes. He's like, it's cool, man. I wish that everything on this piece of paper was true. And the genie's just like, son of a...
Oh man. Yeah, there's a lot of great things this season. I think it was still a banger, and I think Gerard Clemens and Waka Takiti does great with the show. And the thing is like, I remember people talking about the show where they're like, this is like a comfort show for a lot of people now, because it's just we don't have to worry about like overarching story or anything like that, kind of.
Well, there is there, but like it's never, you never feel like it's a perilous situation. It always feels like it's all like it's all solvable. Like even this season with Guillermo being like during the whole 2 episodes where Guillermo's being chased by the Baron or being chased by Nandor, I never once felt like anything bad was going to happen to them. It was all just like, all right, like what's going to happen to solve this? That's all that I care about. And that's very much what it was. Like, it was just, enjoy it, you know, just like it.
Yeah. It wasn't, that's what I love about the show. Is the show cracks me up. I don't have to worry too much about overthinking things.
Yep. You don't have to lean into anything to like predict something.
I don't have to cry.
It's a thing I constantly do in shows, is like I'll watch stuff and then be like, oh, this is what's going to happen, or oh, this is what it's going to. When it comes to this show, I never have that feeling. I never have the want to do that, nor do I have the feeling of, because each episode is just so drastically different. You know, like if you would have told me that in this season, was it I'm trying to think of like some of the episodes. Oh, if you would have told me that in this season, Naja was going to be possessed by her doll and the doll was going to possess Naja, and then it's going to focus around her getting like having sex or something like that, I would instantly be like, okay, yeah, I totally believe that happens. I do not believe it has any type of lasting effect on the show. Yep, no lasting effect. They all move past it at the end of the season episodes. Like, that's solid. That's great.
Yeah, it doesn't have to have like this huge thing that's like, oh, we got to figure this out, type deal. And I really liked what was the episode? Oh, it was the Pride episode where Nandor's like, I can go to go to outer space, and I loved how they filmed that. Jumps, it was like a PV, it was a POV, like he was like, like just went to space. It was so much funny, and it's such a great episode. Like I had no problem with this season. I think it's great, and it fits perfectly in with what we do in the shadows. So
I even like the roast episode.
Oh yeah,
where they're all roasting Matt Berry, and Matt Berry's just super like distant, and they're like, "What's going on?" He's like,
"Yes, thank you.
I found it. Yes, that's how I am going to rearrange my books." It's like, you've been just staring at. You've been doing it for over a month. Yes, it's time well spent.
It's like I thought it was going to be like this overarching problem where he finds out like about how to reverse Guillermo's thing, because it kind of leaves off that way. And Matt Berry,
that's exactly what you thought it was. Like
Matt Berry going to the beach was freaking hilarious, especially kicking that ball.
Oh like, yeah, because he got to put Guillermo's skin on him. He's like, I'm in the sun.
He's like, you're like Blade. But
Yes,
yeah.
whatever that is. Yeah, sure.
The only one I don't really remember too much is actually the urgent care episode where Colin Robinson gets in an Uber because he can't feed properly for some odd
Oh,
reason.
yeah. No, I still
Yeah.
like that episode just for the
It's
fact that
good.
everything Carl Robinson did just kept making him more and more interesting
Yeah.
to people.
Yeah.
And then they meet the
Yeah.
one dude, and he is like super into Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
And he's just like, why? Was it? Jip, jump out. And then they walk into a convenience store. It's like, just so happens to be being robbed.
Yeah.
And then he's like famous on TikTok. It's like,
Oh, man.
that's funny to me. Like, I find that great. I liked it.
I thought it was funny. Because what was it? Like Laszlo at the beginning of that episode was like, we can actually save Colin if you just like put yourself on this machine and it will suck out like your energy and give it to Colin for a little bit. And then like he's like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, will it be extremely painful? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm not doing that. And then at the end, what was it? Nandor actually decides to use the machine.
Yeah, they have to because they
And
can't
he
get
turns him like super old or something. I forget.
And then
It's
in
not
order to
really-
give, what I find interesting is energy vampires can give back the energy they
Yeah.
steal by doing the opposite of what their energy system works. Like, Colin Robinson is all about doll stuff. Instead, if he talks about interesting things to someone, he gives their energy back. And I'm like, that's very cool. And I also liked it that he explained his real name was Arthur.
Yeah, and his lover was Davy Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. And then he like actually has a knife from, what was it, Jim Bowie, the guy that dies in the Alamo.
Jim Bowie, and he's
Yeah.
like David Crockett. And you know how I found out my initial spelled S? My ex-lover.
My ex-lover. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I liked this season a lot. I think it was really good. There's a lot of great one or two liners everywhere. Like I keep seeing it, but whenever Nandor like he's like, you will honor all these receipts. Like, I'll honor this receipt of a free oil change that expired 5 years ago, and this picture of Gordon Ramsay. It just little things like that, and then everything Matt Berry says basically is automatically a
Of
clip.
course. Yeah. He's one of the most interesting people of all time, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially on this show, he does really well. You know, and the thing is like, it still baffles me every time I watch the series is just, this came from a movie and someone thought it would be great on a TV show, and it's perfect as a TV show. I love it.
It's great.
Because sometimes you get transitions from a movie to a TV show and it just doesn't work. But this is great. Like, they took their time. They take their time on this. They pick a great character classes and
What's
stuff
funny
like
to me, I was thinking about this actually, not like, I think today actually, that this is the one show that when I Google what we do in the shadows, I'm wanting the show stuff, not the movie. Even though I love the movie as much as the show, I just have so much more time with the show cast that I think about their shenanigans much more than I think about the movies. And I'm like, that's interesting. Because very often, whenever you have something based off of something else, you tend to think of the original more than what came after. But in this situation, it's the exact opposite. Like, whenever I think of what we do in the shadows, I think of the show. I don't think of the movie anymore. And that should tell you how good of writing this is and how good of a show it is that it's able to eclipse an already amazing movie. Like, more power to it. I was thinking about that because I was looking up gifts for it at one point today, and my brain instantly went, man, I'm seeing gifts from the movies, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for gifts from the movie. I'm looking for gifts from the show. That's interesting. Yeah, I was legitly pondering that for a bit. Yeah. It's all honestly great season. I liked it a lot. I'm excited for next season, whenever that will come out, probably next year sometime.
usually July.
I'm hoping that Christian Shaw continues to be part of the cast. I love her being in it. I would love more of her. Got a lot of her this season, and I loved every second of it. I thought she was fantastic. The whole cast I'm just super excited for. And I'm very interested on what they do with the next season, and who knows what they'll go with that. Yeah. Austin, do you have anything you want to say about what we do in the Shadow season 5 to top us off?
No, actually, I don't. I'm actually excited that I got to watch it, and it was. It's one of the shows that I anticipate every year. I'm like, yeah, we get a new season, so I'm really excited that people are loving the show, and I'm happy that it keeps going, and we get in the same consistent comedy. Yeah, that's what's good about it.
That's the amazing part about this show, is that I feel like the comedy has not changed from season 1 to season 5.
Yeah, and sometimes it becomes stagnant, and like sometimes it's just like, oh, those episodes weren't good. But like this season, I never really had a problem. In a season I might have a problem with 1 or 2 episodes, but this season I think it was like 1 episode. But it wasn't like it wasn't funny. It was just like I didn't care for the episode, but I didn't mind it. Like it's not like, oh, this season's terrible because of this episode. It's more of like, it was okay. Like, but I liked the humor that was in it, and I thought it was good. It was just not as funny as the other ones, but consistent comedy is hard to do, especially this is a gold mine. Like I think these characters are great, and Matt Berry is phenomenal, and he does really good, and every actor on this show does really good. And I'm super excited that it's something that like I get to look forward to in July every year. I'm like, hey, what we do in the Shadows, new season's coming out.
Like, yeah,
I watch it. I watch it constantly. Like like usually we, sometimes like I think you did, where you didn't watch it when it was coming out. You watched it.
Yeah,
the first time you watched it was when
you were
I was out there for the concert.
Yeah, the concert. Yep, I watched the first 4 episodes there, because that's the issue that I know for sure, right? This is something that I personally do for Bros and Shows, is if I know we're going to watch something, I won't watch it as it comes out, because I want all the stuff to be fresh and in my brain as I do it. And I know for instance, what we do in the Shadows, I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes, and if that's all I can watch, I'll like get frustrated that I can't watch it, because that's what also happened with what's it called, The Last of Us, when we watched it. I watched like the first 3 episodes, and then I had to wait a week, and I just stopped watching the whole thing and just waited for it to come out so I could just binge it all, because I want to resolve the story within a couple hours, and I want to like collect it all and think about it, because if I watch an episode and that's all I get to do, and then I have a week, I would want to talk about it. Like I want to talk about it like we used to do with like Game of Thrones. That doesn't work if we're doing it on the podcast, because then we'll talk about the show in extensiveness, but then whenever it comes to the show, we're not going to rehash the things we've already talked about. And so I'm like, I can't do that. Like I'm just not able to, and that's fine. Like, what can you do? But no, it was a great show. Loved it a lot. Can't wait for next season. And hopefully, with the rumors that the writer strike is possibly ending here, hopefully that's good news. I hope they get everything that they want.
Yeah, I actually looked it up today, exactly what the deal is, and they have confirmed that they have taken the deal. It's just they're trying to get the actors part.
They've accepted the deal as like the organization, but it still needs to be ratified through like the votes.
Yeah, so they were like proposing $429 million, and then that the company came back with like, I think it was like $86 million, and like they were like, no. But because you can look it up on their website, because that's what I did. I saw a video on it and I looked it up. But they actually are guaranteed $236. $236 million. So it's like half of what they wanted, a little bit more than half. But what's great about this is like the number one win for this is like AI, and how AI is staying out of writing shows. And I'm like,
AI needs to be out of shows 110%, right? Unless it's like that's the gimmick of the show and you never had writers to begin with. Even then I'm kind of like, I don't really like it. And then the other big thing I know that they're trying to push for is like residual increases from streaming, which to me is just as important as the money based things, because there's so many people getting shafted from the streaming services payment. Like I was watching TikToks about a dude like, let's see my residual for the month, $20, because I literally make 0 cents on some of the streams because I'm not considered in it enough to be paid. But if this was shown on the TV, like on a TV channel, I would have made $3 off of each of these. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, they're getting screwed out the wazoo from it, and they need all this stuff. So I'm really hoping that they get all that stuff.
Yeah.
So here's hoping. I hope we hear good things for them in the next week, and then I'm hoping that the actors also get what they want, because everything's starting to strike now. Like the inflation has got to the point where it's like everyone's doing it, and then all these corporations just do not want to pay to increase because they want to keep these profit margins. It's like, nah, mate, you gonna shut down the economy because you guys refuse to pay livable wages. Screw you, mate. Yeah. Anyways, Austin, that's it for this show of Bros and Shows. I appreciate you joining. Next week we will be watching Interview with the Vampire, because to start off the spooky season, we did what we do in the shows. And we're gonna keep doing spooky stuff. So Interview with the Vampire next week with Jacob Henderson.
It will be. There's 2 ways you could watch it. If you have AMC Plus, you can watch it on AMC Plus. Right now, it is available on HBO Max or Max because they have a partnership with that. Because Max is changing their game. They are the only streaming network that doesn't have live sports. So starting, I think, next month. They will have live sports, but they also will be like part of AMC Plus. Because I don't think AMC Plus is going to live for so long. I think that's why it's on that network. It's because like there's not really that much on AMC Plus, and most people don't really like use it. It's kind of like how Discovery was. Discovery got pretty much swept up by Warner Brothers and became Max. So yeah.
Well, I'm still not happy with HBO at all.
No, I'm not.
Because they're being pieces of trashes to my childhood, and I hate that. And those people deserve all the money that they make from. It's frustrating. I just hate corporations, man.
Oh no, I get you.
All right, Austin. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. It was fun talking, man. And thank you all so much for stopping in. Thank you all so much. Tune in.